Salut coders, this is Bisky here. Welcome back to another tutorial. And in this tutorial, I want to teach you more about a business layer. We want to separate our code and into a business layer. As you can see on the previous tutorial, we have this code which we wrote in our controller. This is the bad thing that we are doing. The audit code is supposed to be in a business layer, which you are going to do creating a service and implementation. So by doing that, we need also to create interfaces. We can use dependency injection by using the interface so that you don't know, a user doesn't know the implementation, but what is more focused is just to code that interface method. The how part, it doesn't matter, but you just want to use a service layer. So what we want to do, we want to move our code into a business layer. By doing that, we already did this one. You see, this is a clean code. This is much better, but we want to separate all these delete and others into a service layer to make this controller very smart. So here we need to create a new package and we call it service. And by doing this, we are trying to have like loose coupling on our project. And when we are doing unity test, it's going to be easier to test our implementation. So by using this service layer, we have the capability of saving data into the database and transform the data into our controller. So we can do all the transformation for this. So this user service, we can move it into this implementation. We already did this on a previous tutorial, but this tutorial, we are more focusing on why we have to do that. So here we need to create an interface like this one. We have this one, which is create this one. We just copy this and we need to create a new Java class, which is an interface, and we just say user service. Then your interface here. So once you do this, we can copy this interface here, and here we just say implements. Because this method is now coming from our interface, so we can just say add override to make sure that we add override like this. So in our controller, we now have to use this interface, not this one. So let's go where we are calling this, and we injected it here. So we don't care about what is being happened, but we are going to have this. So if your user clicks this create, you just see this method. It doesn't know about the functionality, but what it knows is that when I want to create, I just call this say a user just use this user service to create. So we want also to have this update. So what you can do, what is being returned here, it was this user. So we are passing this one. So for our update, it's returning this user. So let's go to our interface. Let's copy like what we did here. Update. And for update, remember, we must pass a ID. And in our interface controller, and we see this one update, okay, it's different here. And in our interface, we just say do this, and here just say record, and we need to implement it here. So after implementing this logic, we can come back to our controller. Let's copy everything that we have here. Like this, we can cut. Let's cut and put the date code in here. we can throw a not found exception. I will show you. So let's just say throw new runtime exception. In future videos, I will show you how to customize these exceptions for global exception with Quarkus. So don't worry, we will do that. So here it's just to be like this, like this, like this, and we want to retain this one. So in our controller, we just call this service, and you can pass the ID, and you can pass the update like this. So this is what we are supposed to do, and we make our code more simple and easier to read. Then here we want to get a user. So for getting a user, we are returning this. So what you can do, we just pass a user ID. So in our service, we just do this. Here just say get by ID. And we can implement this. And we can come back to our controller. Let's remove all of our dirty code here. Like what we did previously, we need to throw an exception. If this thing is not found, we shall have a custom exception. Don't worry about this. Global exception handling. Then here we just say user service, get by ID. You can pass by ID. And this is a deleting, for a deleting. Okay. Here it was to get by username like. So what I can do, we can come here and I can come to the controller, and we need to search by username like. And it's supposed to be a list. And let's import a list here. So because it's an interface, or this public interface by default, the methods are public. Then we can do this. Then we can come to our controller and you can copy this. And you can collect and you can make it inline like this. Then we can come back to our controller. So here it's we need to add a user service. Then in here for the delete part, we need to just come here. We copy this one and you say delete by ID. Then we can implement the logic. Then in our controller, you have to come here, dot delete by ID, and we can pass our ID. And here you can do the validation if it's not there. And for the delete, supposed to be a void. That's correct. and here is supposed to be a void because we don't want to return anything. So this is how we can implement our, so if I come here, this controller, in this controller, we no longer need to add this here, and we can make our code much easier. Or I can return this, or maybe you can need the ID that we created. So you can just return a just created if a new user has been created like this. Build, so that we don't return every record. And you can also do the same here. Copy, paste here. Just say build. So you don't return the whole body, you just return the status code created. And if you do that, that's okay, because sometimes you can have a model with multiple properties and those properties are not necessary, and user don't want to use them. So just return the status code created, and you know that the user has been created or has been updated. So if you want to get a record, you just use get by user ID if you are interested on that user. So we are okay with that. So this is how we can use the business layer and how you can create services. So you just use this service, and we don't care about the implementation. We are more focusing on the user doesn't know how it works, how the create user is doing, but user can use that user service to just get the data to create a user. But if you want the implementation, we can hide the implementation into this service layer. So it's okay like this, and all the data code will be here. So this business layer is the one that is going to interact with our database. So for the database part, we are going to have a tutorial for that, which is a data access layer. So if you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new video. Salut coders.